First impressions are important no matter how much people like to deny it. Humans as a species tend to make judgments on people and things immediately after first seeing or meeting them. If you call your partner a bitch the first time you meet their parents, they probably aren't going to like you very much. The same applies to video games. Yes, dear viewer, starting a new video game is exactly like meeting your significant other's parents. If they were Batman. If your 20-hour game starts with 1 hour of bugs, glitches, and completely uninteresting gameplay, and the next 19 hours live up to the golden standard of skateboard drifting with Maxwell the cat, no one's going to even know because they'll have stopped like 30 minutes in. Which, by the way, this is a real game, it's on the eShop, I have no idea how it has not been taken down yet. So, opening sequences in a video game are pretty important. After all, it's basically what decides if you stick with a game or not. You have to interest the player in the story and the mechanics, and then also not overwhelm them at the same time with too much story or too much mechanics, keeping ideas and content for later on in the game. And with that in mind, I want to talk about some of my personal favorites in video game openings. This video was not a good opening, fuck that, okay, but alright. Super Metroid is an absolute banger of a game. One of my favorite games of all time and 100% my favorite game on the Super Nintendo. It was the first Metroid game I properly played and the one that introduced me to one of the best series of all time.
Another new entry in the Metroid franchise.
Yes! Oh, is this Metroid Fusion 2? Metroid 5? Yes! I would literally sell my kidneys for this if I did not have enough money for it. And a big contributor to that is the fantastic opening this game has that just threw me right into the atmosphere of the world. We start off with a short recap on the previous two Metroid games, which is really nice for newcomers, but not what I want to focus on here. Samus gets a distress signal from a space station she just departed from and immediately flies back, and the player is given control. Immediately, the dark surroundings and lack of any real music tell you that you're just fucked, like, you're so fucked. And if that wasn't enough of a signal, maybe the dead bodies here will let you know something's up. So, naturally, we continue into the next room and see this little baby Metroid. Well, we should probably go. I don't think this place is tax compliant. Oh shit, the IRS arrived. Except it's not the IRS, it's a fucking cool purple parent murdering space dragon. He uses his employee card to lock the doors and now we have to fight him. Naturally, this sets off the space station's anti-dragon systems, patent pending, which of course are designed to blow up the entire space station, meaning Ridley here is now going to fly off with his new gelatinous friend. So we must follow suit. Now, this escape sequence isn't actually difficult, the timer is extremely generous and you can't even be hurt or damaged, but it does a really great job at like setting the atmosphere and instilling a sense of urgency in the player. Once we leave the station, Samus immediately flies to planet Zebes, and this is where the game truly begins. This entire intro sequence at the space station is amazing though. It gives the player an environment to mess around with their controls for a few rooms, it sets the atmosphere that you are truly alone and everybody is dead, and then it proceeds to throw the player straight into a boss fight that, while they can't actually lose, sets the stakes high with the following escape sequence. If you haven't already, I highly recommend giving Super Metroid a shot. It is a fantastic game. And with that, let's move on to another one. Much like Super Metroid, Mario Galaxy is one of my favourite, if not my favourite game of all time. Are we starting to see a pattern here? This game opens with Mario getting an invitation from Peach to come to the castle for, I don't know, golf or illegal baby driving or something. Anyway, jolly Red Plumber here is having a grand old time running towards Peach's castle until Jack Black arrives in his airship. Galaxy was the first Mario game to have a fully orchestrated soundtrack, and they immediately put it to good use with this rendition of the Airship theme from Mario 3. In general, this game feels a lot more cinematic and serious than other Mario games. You can tell like right away from how cutscenes are shot and how intense and serious Bowser's plan is this time compared to him usually kidnapping Peach for like her Wi-Fi password or something. Like, look at these poor toads being frozen. Mario continues on towards Peach's castle, and when we eventually get there, Bowser just decides to rip the entire castle off the ground, Paper Mario style. Kamek then absolutely yeets Mario, where he falls unconscious and wakes up on this random planet where the game begins. As an opening, I think this is extremely effective. Much like a lost toddler in Tesco, you get just enough time to run and jump around before shit hits the fan. The stakes are immediately set high and you feel a sense of urgency and danger, even though it's actually really difficult to take damage in this opening section. As far as mainline Mario games go, this may be the best opener. Alright, since it's Halloween time soon, time for a tone shift.
Pick up the fan.
Recently my friend gave me her old semi-broken PS2, and after I was able to partially fix it, there was one game I was dying to play. Silent Hill 2. I had never played a Silent Hill game before this, and holy shit did the opening leave a good impression. Now, horror game openings are kind of a whole different breed when it comes to making it effective. When the entire purpose of your game is to disturb and spook the player, immersion becomes an even bigger priority. It's easy to say, hey, here's something spooky in this game, but it's a gargantuan task to make the player feel afraid and involved in the situation. Silent Hill 2 does this poetically. James Sunderland is called to the town of Silent Hill via a letter he received from his wife,
Said Mary.
who has been dead for 3 years.
So then, why am I looking for her?
Well, now I'm intrigued.
What could she mean?
After a short explanation from James talking about how his wife couldn't possibly be in this town, the player is given control. For the first 15 minutes or so, there are no enemies, no bosses, just you and the town of Silent Hill. This is where I would be fucking insane not to mention the amazing soundtrack for this game, composed by Akira Yamaoka. As we stroll through the forest on our way to Silent Hill, this haunting song that seems almost made up of the wind's howling lingers with us. The fog completely dominates your vision, making sure you never know what's around the next corner. The sounds of what I can only describe as wolves on steroids begin to fill the air. You stop. You're panicked. Paranoia sets in. Every branch that ascends from the overbearing fog begins to look like it could jump out at you. But nothing ever does. We make it to the graveyard where we meet Angela. Fantastic, another human to comfort us.
Excuse me,
Oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you.
Except Silent Hill 2 takes
kinda
this
lost.
typical safety net and uses it to illustrate just how weird this town is.
Lost?
Now, the voice acting in this game is highly divisive, but I fucking love it.
Is this the right way?
It does such an amazing job at seeming stilted and unnerving, as if these aren't people interacting, but some sort of AI mimicking a human conversation.
This town, there's something wrong with it.
After we talk to Angela, we continue on our way to Silent Hill, through a muddy road littered with oil barrels that kept freaking me the hell out. We eventually make our way to the main streets of Silent Hill, and this is where I feel the game truly starts. I've pretty much explained why I love this opening so much while I was taking you through it, but to repeat myself, it's the perfect symphony of atmosphere, music, intrigue, voice acting, tension, and just general uneasiness. And that will be the final video game opening I talk about today. Happy Halloween, and thanks for watching.